bringing back old fun segment, the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame. Skidmore is a city in Nottoway County in northwestern Missouri. As of the 2010 census, the population is 284. The small farming community was known primarily for its yearly pumpkin show, which lasted until 2004, and it is also known for being the hometown of maybe the biggest piece of shit in American history.
There's no way that could be true.
Oh,
Donald
buddy.
Trump.
No, this is worse.
How many slaves did he own before you make that statement?
Yeah, that's...
So Ken Rex McElroy was born in Skidmore, Missouri on June 1st, 1934. He was the 15th of 16 children, so normal. When he was a small child, Ken fell off a hay wagon on his parents' farm and hit his head. The injury was so severe that a steel plate had to be surgically implanted into his head. This would have no lingering effects at all into his adulthood.
Yeah, sure.
This doesn't affect him.
What is this, like 18?
In any way. This would be the late 1930s.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, round about 1940 or so.
I didn't even know they could do that back then.
Apparently they can, yeah. So he was born in 34, and I believe it happened before he was 10. So, World War II is the era. As a child, Ken was a crack shot with a rifle and became an accomplished raccoon hunter. By the time he was a teenager, he had also become a thief by profession, and he dropped out of school in 8th grade in order to pursue a life of crime.
Nice. Same. Story checks out.
And this is exactly how it's written. There's a great book called In Broad Daylight by a guy named Harry McLean who wrote all this stuff, and this is exactly how he puts it. What started off as Ken popping a hog or two into the back of his car eventually gave way to him stealing 2 or 3 trailer loads of cattle in a night. So he was like a big-time animal rustler.
On a lonely night, I've been known to pop a hog.
I mean, my mind immediately went to dirty places
It
when I
gets
read
lonely
this.
here on Middlebury. I'm at eggs. Give me a hug.
There ain't a lot of shit to do on a lonely night in Skidmore. Ken stole everything he could get his hands on: pigs, cattle, dogs, guns, car parts, antiques, tools, and chemicals. Ken would chemicals, yeah. So apparently would just roll out with giant barrels of lye or gasoline or just whatever there was, because it's all farms. So basically this guy would just sneak on a farm at night, steal grain out of silos, load up his pickup truck with grain, and this was interesting. So he would fence these items to a large network of thieves that he knew across northwestern Missouri. So apparently at the time, there's just thieves everywhere that would buy this shit off of him. So he would steal like a ton of grain, load it into his pickup truck, and then go sell it for like $3 a pound or whatever.
I did the same thing on Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yeah.
Great game. It's consuming my whole life right now.
Ooh.
And that's supposed to be in like the 1890s. This is like the 50s,
Yeah.
This is still how they live in this part of the country.
Yeah. Fucking losers. Everyone in Missouri. No. I'm sorry I said that.
McElroy was known to employ local poor boys to do crimes for him. He'd give the kids speed to keep them up at night, stealing, and then he'd pay his pubescent thieves and getaway drivers in soda or beer. So he's
Sody pop?
He's assembling a child army, not unlike a backwoods Joseph Kony. It's sort of a backwoods warlord at this point.
Wow.
So he's just got like teenagers running around the county stealing shit for him.
Yeah.
And he's pumping them up with speed too.
How do you think the meth was back in the 50s, huh?
Well, I'd assume it's benzodrine, if anything. It's probably because it would be those diet pills, that shit that Elvis and Johnny Cash.
Yeah, the shit the Beatles were on in Hamburg.
Yeah. That's probably benzodrine. There's an old time. I think it's a kind of a jazz proto rock and roll song called "Who Put the Benzodrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine," and the joke of the song is it gets faster and faster as the song goes along.
Wait, this is post World War II, right?
Yeah. This would be
speed was the first drug epidemic in America.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys know that?
No.
I did not know that.
After World War II, a lot of the soldiers had been given it in battle.
Yeah,
and
to
then
keep them up.
It was legal still for a long time. You could get like cocaine and nasal spray and shit like that. Apparently, everybody was loving it.
Yeah, they're still loving it.
I mean, I might love it tonight.
I was gonna say
You could get like cocaine, like asthma inhalers too.
One Sunday after church, yes, he was going to church. Ken was showing off his new pickup truck. He kicked one of the tires, and the hubcap fell off, along with what looked to be thousands of dollars in cash. Ken calmly picked up the hubcap and the money and put it in the cab. So he's just like, yeah, it's my new truck. And he like kind of like sidekicked the rim a little bit, and it just a bunch of money fell out of the wheel.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I wish that happened when I kicked the tire on my car.
I know, right?
I wish that happened, when I did something to my 2005 Honda Accord. Could really use a pile of cash.
Yeah, I wish that would fall out of my bumper when I back into someone trying to park in front of me. Just thousands of dollars fall out of my bumper.
Once, while being pursued by police in his truck, Ken stopped on a bridge, unhooked his large animal trailer, thus blocking the road, and then continued on his way. He then reported the trailer stolen, and the sheriff who had been chasing him was forced to return the trailer to Ken's farm the next day. Which, yeah.
To return the stolen trailer?
Right, so he's running from the cops. He's got a big-ass horse trailer on the back of his truck, pulls up to a narrow bridge that I guess is one lane, unhooks the trailer so the cops can't chase him anymore across the bridge, gets away, reports the trailer stolen, and then they have to bring it back to him.
He must have had a sizable lead on them to be able to get out, disconnect the trailer.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I like how minute by minute this is, and this is like in the fucking 50s. I guess there's not a lot else to report on. And
well, this book is very, very thorough. I'm basically just giving you guys a bunch of details for what an asshole this guy is, so it'll be really glorious at the end. Speaking of Ken's farm, at any given time, Ken kept between 15 and 20 ravenous dogs chained up around his property at all times.
Oh, God.
Members of his backwoods child army later claimed that Ken would feed the dogs speed to, quote, keep them mean.
Whoa.
So now the dogs are on meth too. Just
Oh my God.
a bunch of methed out pit bulls chained to various stumps. So
coked out chihuahuas, just
Yeah.
yeah, what if he had the most ineffectual dogs?
just a bunch of
Shih
coked out
Tzus.
Shar-Peis and
Yeah,
stuff.
Shar-Peis.
I got a really temperamental chow.
Tweaked out like wiener dogs, just flopping all over each other.
Here's the really bad part. Ken was a notorious womanizer, and at 5'10" and 250 pounds, what a catch. Ken fathered at least 10 children with several mothers. Ken met his last wife, Trina McLeod, while he was dating her mom. Trina was 12 at the time. By the age of 14, Trina was pregnant with Ken's daughter, and in order to escape charges of statutory rape, basically he asked her to marry him. Because if they were married, Trina couldn't be forced to give testimony against him.
Whoa.
Jesus.
So he
Also surprising that they had statutory rape in Missouri. Shocked by that.
I think I think 12 is a bit beyond the pale, even in the more fucked up states.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Missouri.
That's right.
Yeah. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Shout out to our listeners in Missouri.
You're good people.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Y'all get it. Y'all
We do
get
have
it.
You're
a
the
bunch,
ones.
actually.
You're the one.
Yeah, you're the good ones.
All the other methed out, rapists who live in Missouri. I'm sorry.
On the advice of counsel, McElroy divorced his wife Alice and married Trina. 16 days after Trina gave birth, both she and his third wife Alice both fled to Trina's mother and stepfather's house. So basically, this guy's such an abusive piece of shit. She has the baby, and they're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. So they go to her mom and stepdad's house, and Ken chased them there and dragged them back to his farm at gunpoint. And a few days later, he went back to the mother's house while she was away, shot her dog, and burned the house down.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This guy.
Sort of a shithead.
Not a good guy.
At this point, I've decided that.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
This not a cool customer, this guy.
By the late 70s, the whole town of Skidmore lived in total fear of Ken Rex McElroy.
I love how close to the name is to Skidmark.
I know.
Like, of course, this guy would live in Skidmark,
He lives
Missouri.
in Skidmark, Missouri. According to one townsperson, quote, he always carried at least one gun on his person and would never hesitate to stick it in your face with only the slightest provocation. Just about anything he did was in direct violation of the law, and no one did or said anything about it. No matter what trouble he caused, be it attempted murder, robbery, or rape, nobody had the stomach to stand up to him. Even with this in his favor, McElroy did see his fair share of the inside of a courtroom. And how did he get away with all this shit? He had a fancy-ass lawyer named Richard McFadden.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Got to get yourself a McFadden.
So Richard McFadden had represented mafia kingpins in Kansas City, and he was a very expensive defense lawyer because of this, and he was McElroy's go-to guy when he inevitably got arrested up to 3 to 4 times a year for a felony.
Whoa.
So this guy got charged with a felony 4 times a year.
Thank God he had this awesome, wonderful person lawyer to keep him on the street.
Oh, this guy is such a shithead. There is an argument to be made that his lawyer is worse than he is.
Yeah.
Especially when I start laying down some of his quotes here in a minute. In an interview, McFadden later said of Ken, quote, "Ken was the best client I ever had. He was punctual. He always said he didn't do it. He paid in cash and he kept coming back." So this guy is really he's almost worse, because at this point McElroy is just a force of nature. He's just bad. You can guarantee he's going to be bad. This is the enabler. This guy's worse. McFadden excelled in getting these numerous trials delayed, while McElroy excelled in personally intimidating witnesses and jurors by doing things like parking near their driveways and sitting in his truck with a loaded shotgun, sometimes for days at a time.
Wow.
So this fucking psycho would just be sitting outside of your house with a gun at all hours of the evening.
Yeah. He's probably doing some of the speed too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, just sitting there all crazy and fucked up. This is from author Harry McLean in an interview for ATI.com. Quote, "He would scare the shit out of the jurors, put rattlesnakes in their mailboxes. If you're a juror and you've got 2 kids and you know McElroy's coming for you, what are you going to do?"
Man.
Just
I don't like any of this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucked up.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. In 1976, Ken shot a farmer named Romaine Henry, which, first of all, what a name for a farmer.
Yeah.
I'm Romaine Henry.
I'm Romaine Henry, and I grow radishes.
Yeah, I was going to say, he can't grow lettuce.
No.
He's got to be, he's like, oh, no, I'm a dairy farmer.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with vegetables at all.
Yeah. I hate lettuce.
It's yucky.
Romaine Henry shot him twice in the stomach after he told McElroy to get off his property. Ken was charged with assault with intent to kill, and McFadden kept delaying his trial. The case dragged on for years, and when the case finally went to trial, McElroy was acquitted after 2 raccoon hunters said McElroy was with them the day of the shooting.
Well, if you're going to believe someone,
You might as well
gonna be a couple
talk
of,
to a couple of raccoon hunters.
Yes.
If you're like
That's good meat.
It's the
Yeah,
worst
good meat.
There's good meat on them bones. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, raccoons, they're so funny. They got like the hands.
Yeah. They got opposable thumbs. They're coming
Yeah.
for us. They're coming for the crown. Give it a few million years.
Side note, one time I adopted this, there was a feral cat in the neighborhood back in Portland. It had been abandoned. Sweetest cat. Kind of had the same like patterns and fur color as a raccoon. And we couldn't keep her inside, I mean, well, we did, but she would just have to go outside. That was like the thing. And then one time I was doing laundry, and I go down. Our laundry was downstairs. I'm walking downstairs. She is hanging out with a family of raccoons.
Oh shit.
And then it started to be this thing where I would just see them together all the time, and I was like, oh, they think she's like their child. Like
adopted her
like a baby raccoon.
Oh wow.
And then I was like, aw, but stay away from me.
Yeah. Yeah, that is adorable, though.
Yeah.
The raccoons just lived in the house?
No, they were just outside.
Oh,
but
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they were,
Oh,
they're
okay.
just kicking it.
I gotcha.
They helped me, fold clothes, imposable thumbs.
Yeah, they can do that.
I'm like, you
They
ain't
can
getting out
hold
of laundry duty.
Yeah. They're trying to help you fold the fitted sheets, and they're the
Yeah.
only ones that know how to do it.
Yeah, they're the only one that gets the bed skirt on right or whatever it is. I don't even know what it's called, but you know what I'm
bed
saying.
skirt, yeah.
You never put it on right the first time.
The bed girdle.
Yeah.
Nobody living on Middlebury has a bed skirt. Let's be honest.
Let's be real. Well, you got one.
I got one right here.
I think I have the same one, actually. Yeah.
Walmart special.
Whoa. Well, everybody's doing better than old Sam, a mattress on the floor, Harter.
Well, you got to get something to hide the trash you throw under there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I do it.
But yeah, so he shoots Romaine twice in the stomach and gets away with it.
What happened to Romaine?
He lived, but he just didn't get justice.
He did live.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, back to this depressing ass guy.
Yeah. I want to talk about my cat more.
Yeah, this is from In Broad Daylight. Quote, "It can be said that when the town of Skidmore saw a guilty man get acquitted in the legal system, they said, well, we're on our own here. These are second and third generation farmers. They don't move. They just kind of cowered in their houses." D&G's Tavern was Skidmore's local watering hole. It was a favorite haunt of Ken McElroy because in addition to all of his other charming character traits, Ken was a gigantic booze hound and was known to sit at the bar and, believe it or not, threaten people with his gun. So
that lines up. Yeah, sounds about right.
Every time he came into D&G's, everybody just walked out. Del Clement, who owned the bar with his brother, never liked McElroy for some reason and liked him even less for driving off his customers. Quote, McElroy had a beef with almost everyone, Clement said in 1988. When he came into town, everybody went home and called people and they said, go home and lock your doors.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Daddy's drinking tonight. Watch out.
And I got a gun, baby.
Daddy McElroy. I love how it's 1988.
Yeah.
And this guy can't be stopped.
Well, that's when they interviewed Del Clement for that particular. Something's going to happen before 1988. So on April 25th, 1980, McElroy was in Ernest Bowencamp's general store with his 8-year-old daughter, Tanya. On their way out of the store clerk, Evelyn Sumi, asked Tanya to please return the jawbreakers that she'd witnessed her sticking in her pocket. So the little girl taking after the old man, stealing a bunch of fucking candy, and the clerk says, hey, put it back. Ken was so pissed off about the incident that he set about stalking the Bowencamp family every night for 3 months.
Jeez.
At what point growing up in this, when you're in like high school, you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of this town.
This town sounds
like, this sucks.
Shit.
This one fucking I can move 20 minutes in any direction, and life would be so much better.
Yeah. Maryville. I looked this up online today, and the county seat over there in whatever the county is looked real pleasant. There was way too much drone footage of Maryville. Actually, somebody over there has a drone and way too much free time. So you get a good look at the
person in Maryville. Yeah, I want to use it.
My turn. So he's stalking this family for 3 months. This all culminated in the events of July 8th, 1980, when McElroy spotted Mr. Bowencamp, the guy who owned the store, coming out of the back of his store. He walked up to him with his shotgun and fired one shot directly into Ernest Bowencamp's neck.
Whoa.
So he shot him in the neck with a fucking shotgun.
And that didn't completely like pop his head like a grape. Like,
somehow Bowencamp fucking survived, which was good because that helped them arrest McElroy.
Evidence.
Finally one guy can say, this dude shot me in the head with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm still alive. So McElroy was arrested for attempted murder. His preliminary trial was set for August 18th, 1980. Predictably, Ken McElroy bonded out of jail while the lawyer, McFadden, would set about getting the trial delayed. Meanwhile, Ken would drive his truck up to the Bowencamp house every night and fire his gun into the air.
Remember how you told people to skip ahead if they didn't like this? They probably did skip like 20 minutes
to right
ahead,
here, and we're still...
Yeah, they're still
So
hearing.
we shot him in the head with a shotgun.
With a shotgun.
And the kids' lives were ruined, and everyone's drunk, and
Dogs are on meth.
Yeah. We got too many goddamn drones in
Maryville. Through legal maneuvering, they were able to delay the trial until June 25th, 1981. During this time, a new prosecutor named David Baird was hired, and he reduced the charges from attempted murder to second-degree assault.
Wow.
For shooting a man in the fucking head with a shotgun. So they get it down. So the second-degree assault, which carries a maximum of 2 years in jail. So that's going to be his sentence. And basically it's because this Baird guy just wants to get a conviction of any kind. And he thinks that McFadden's won't fight him if he gets it down to second-degree assault. But then he's only in jail for 2 years. And he's obviously dangerous. This guy just wants to be like, I finally dunked on this guy, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's just...
Posterized him.
Yeah.
That's a basketball term.
And he gets it down to second-degree assault. At the trial, Ken was convicted, but the judge let McElroy out on a $40,000 bond pending his lawyer's appeal. The town, which had breathed a collective sigh of relief over McElroy's conviction, reeled under the news that McElroy was now free and able to terrorize the residents of the town once again, which he set about doing immediately, picking fights with the members of the Bowencamp family, as well as the minister at a local Church of Christ who had to carry a pistol on him at all times. The minister, the goddamn preacher has a gun now because of this guy. He's turning everybody into a son of a bitch.
McElroy, you're turning everyone into a son of a bitch.
Okay, here we go.
Is he related to the tennis player McElroy? Or?
That's McEnroe.
McEnroe.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
That guy also probably did something like that too.
Oh, he's also a crazy abusive psychopath, but I don't think he took it this far. So 2 weeks after his conviction, July 9th, 1981, McElroy goes to D&G's Tavern, as he is wont to do, wielding an M1 Garand 30-06 rifle with a bayonet attached to it. So,
That's a World War II.
that's a World War II
A bayonet. That's
rifle,
the big
and it has a
sword.
huge knife, a huge blade attached to the
He'd
end
had
of
his
it.
other arm replaced with a chainsaw. Like, he looks like a character from Gears of War now at this point.
I can't imagine why you're not allowed to bring guns into bars anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, because people hate fun. People hate being able to protect themselves. It's sad.
While sitting in the bar, he made graphic threats about what he was going to do to Bowencamp and his family. And at that point, the town had had enough.
Enough's enough. Enough's enough.
Just now, they decided to have enough. The next day, on the morning of Friday, July 10th, 1981, the townspeople met at the American Legion Hall in the center of town with Sheriff Dan Estes to discuss, I love his name is Estes, to discuss how
More
to...
like Dan Testes.
Dan
am I
Balls.
Right? What's up, Dan Balzac?
What's up, Dan Balls?
I'm trying to clean up this town.
That's why he's a sheriff, is so many people called him Dan Testes as a kid, and now he's like, I gotta be a cop. I want to fucking hurt people.
Look, I'm sorry I don't have a cool name like Ken McElroy or some shit.
So they have this big meeting with the sheriff to discuss how to protect themselves. During the meeting, someone ran into the hall, informing the group that Ken had just arrived at the D&G Tavern with his wife, Trina. Sheriff Estes instructed the assembled group not to get into a direct confrontation with McElroy, but instead to seriously consider forming some kind of neighborhood watch program. Do the prudent thing.
Oh, yeah.
Estes
Hey,
then...
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Estes then proceeded to drive out of town in his police cruiser. This town is too small to have a regular police department, so the sheriff is just popping in just to say, hey, vicious mob,
Yeah. Hey.
maybe chill.
Hey, your town sucks.
And then he fucking
Don't
drives
stoop to his level, guys.
out. Yeah.
Don't pull a whole comedian from here go into a small town and be like, your town sucks. Buy my merch and your town sucks.
As,
You got a bunch of McElroys in this piece of shit. I'm in New York City.
I don't know.
I'm in Manhattan. You bunch of hicks.
as soon as Estes was gone, the citizens, led by the mayor himself, descended on D&G's Tavern en masse. The bar soon filled completely. McElroy's sitting there at the bar, and as soon as he finishes his drinks, he purchased a 6-pack of beer to go, left the bar, and he and Trina entered his pickup truck, which was soon surrounded by a mob of 45 townspeople. Not 45,000, 45 townspeople.
It became a nationwide crisis.
Ken lit up a cigarette and started the truck. Just then, a series of gunshots rang out. A bullet shattered the back window of Ken's truck, hitting him at the base of his skull. Ken's head exploded as a second bullet pierced his neck. High-speed blood covered the windshield and the roof of the cab, and the truck, still in park, began to loudly rev as Ken's extremely dead foot pressed on the pedal.
Wow. What happened to his wife?
Trina drove...
About that kitten playing with those raccoons.
and that's how it said it in the thing. His head exploded. Like, what happened is they hit him in the base of the skull, and then you've got your mouth there, which is a big bunch of negative space. So as soon as it's a 30-06 bullet, as soon as it hit the negative space, the bullet just exploded, and his entire face went on the windshield.
Gross.
Hilarious podcast.
Hilarious, and he gets hit in the neck also.
Yeah.
As
I like
if-
how two people are laughing hysterically. Me and Sam are just like, okay. Ouchie.
I mean, you know, it's just it's the natural way it's gonna go. It's gonna pop like a grapefruit, and his rigor mortis is gonna hold his foot on the.
Trina dove from the cab, covered in blood and screaming. A bystander quickly rushed her away from the scene to the bank across the street. Literally, no one called an ambulance as Ken's lifeless body bled out in the truck.
This is Tarantino-esque.
Yeah. Bullet casings recovered at the scene indicated that Ken had been shot at by several different gunmen and hit twice, once by a centerfire 30-30 cartridge and once by a .22 rimfire rifle. In all, there were 46 potential witnesses to the shooting, including Trina McElroy. Later, the people standing around McElroy's truck would tell authorities that they heard gunfire and ducked, but they never saw a shooter.
Nice.
Only Trina claimed to identify a gunman. Every other witness was unable to name the man's assailant and claimed not to have seen who fired the fatal shots. Murder weapons were never recovered, and the DA eventually declined to press charges due to a lack of witness testimony. Later, an extensive FBI investigation did not lead to any charges because they couldn't get anyone to turn.
Yeah, of course.
Ken McElroy was buried at Memorial Park Cemetery in St. Joseph, Missouri. On July 9th, 1984, Trina McElroy filed a $6 million wrongful death suit against the town of Skidmore, County of Nottoway, Sheriff Danny Estes, Steve Peters, the mayor of Skidmore, and Del Clement, who Trina accused of being the shooter, but was never charged. The case was later settled out of court by all parties for the sum of only $17,000. It's been nearly 40 years since the killing of Ken McElroy, and to date, there have been no charges filed, no confessions given. Many of those present at D&G's Tavern on July 10th have since gone to their graves saying absolutely nothing. Richard McFadden, the lawyer who kept Ken McElroy out of jail 21 times, later called Skidmore, quote, the town that got away with murder. So, to the entire town of Skidmore, Missouri, welcome to the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame. 247 of you, come on in here.
As of 2010.
Yeah.
As of 2010.
As of 2010. It's probably going to be less, actually, because apparently every business in this town is closed now. The tavern's gone, the bank is gone, the fucking the restaurant.
Did they try to open like a Chick-fil-A or something there? Or?
Oh, apparently everybody has to drive to Maryville to like get anything. Yeah, that's where the Walmart is.
This whole town is probably haunted by ghosts and all sorts of stuff.
What they got to do is open up a third wave coffee shop, and then you're really going to start to see some nice growth. Vintage
get a
clothing
co-op.
stores.
Like a tea barn or some shit like that.
What's the farmer's market situation?
Oh, I'm sure it's amazing.
Can we get a Wednesday afternoon farmer's market?
Yeah, if they can find somewhere to sell vibes.
Yeah.
There's so many times during that where Simon looked like he wanted to say something, but then was just at a loss for words.
I had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to say something and it just kept getting
more and more fucked up.
Just so hilarious.
I was taking a gamble. I'm glad Carter was with me on this. We're the fucked up ones, obviously.
It comes across as like someone who's like got out of jail, like reading their like screenplay idea.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, I know. Like I was just,
Well,
it's
speaking
ridiculous.
of screenplay, so
I mean, he's a monster. You're right. He's one of the worst people that has ever lived.
Fucking terrible.
But
Everything about
him.
him.
I wonder because everyone gathered around his car. There's no way that they just started shooting. I guarantee he had some sort of like last word that was just one of those final straws.
Yeah,
and that's when somebody
y'all ain't gonna do nothing, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
watch me get away with it again.
He obviously walked through that entire crowd to get to his truck. Like they had poured into the bar to kind of intimidate him or whatever, So probably did say something to them. But Harry McLean, who wrote the book In Broad Daylight, which if anybody's into this kind of crazy shit, it's very, very detailed. He basically says that essentially there was no provoking action other than him starting the truck up. Somebody was like, fuck this, we're not letting him get away.
They made that plan at the American Legion.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, we're going to go murder this guy. Fuck it.
There's a pretty strict no drinking and driving policy in Skidmore. I think that's what it was.
But yeah, so yeah, in broad daylight.
You drink and drive, we're going to riddle your car with bullets.
That's my other favorite thing.
Yeah, there's like instead of like a click it or ticket, there's like a do you want to die in a hail of gunfire?
Yeah.
Buzz driving is drunk driving.
That's the other thing. Like 10 people shot at him, but it's only 2 hit him. So kind of like a firing
his
squad.
head was exploded.
That's true.
That's the most delightful part is when his head pops like a fucking grapefruit, and then the rigor mortis from his foot. If only he'd run into something else, like a school of like baby ducks or some shit like that.
And before I go any further, you should check us out at The Goods Pod, and I'll put up a picture of this guy just so you can see what a gigantic shithead this guy looks like. He is. He's got lots of sideburns. He kind of looks like
Brian Dennehy.
Well, funny you should mention that. Brian Dennehy, that book came out in 1988, and they turned it into a made-for-TV movie called In Broad Daylight, 1991, starring Brian Dennehy.
Oh,
which is
that's good casting. That guy's a dead ringer for Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, man.
So, guys, if we do enough fucked up shit, they'll make a movie about us.
Yeah.
That's
the lesson.
That's the quick way. And at the end of the movie, a police officer tells the perpetrators that, quote, "There's no room in this country for vigilante justice." Which obviously there is. That's a great argument for vigilante justice.
Have you ever heard of freaking Batman?
And Sundance TV right now is in the middle of currently airing a documentary series about McElroy called "No One Saw a Thing."
Jesus.
So
that's a horrible title.
Yeah.
No one saw a thing.
I think it's probably straight from the book because everybody they talked to was very much like, I mean, I'm not saying I know who did it, but I know he needed killing. You know, shit
no
like
one saw a thing. Looks directly into the camera.
Put the Benzedrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine. Now she wants to swing the Highland fling. She says the Benzedrine's a thing that makes her spring. Spring it now, Gibby.